everybody.
Happy Thursday. How about that? Near the very end of the week.
Yes, it's like, what do you like to call it? Is my
mic is not on.
So we're going to work on your mic.
My mic is on.
We can hear
in
you.
the meantime.
I didn't turn it back on. This is why I don't turn it off in between.
Yeah, because you'll forget. It's very easy to forget. So this morning we're talking about school lunches and basically how healthy or unhealthy they are and the amount of sugar in a lot of them. So chime in, let us know. Do you think that there's room for improvement when it comes to school lunches? Let us know. In the meantime, Kia's going to explain an effort out there to try to sort of cut back on the sugar that's in school lunches.
Yeah, that's right, Ben. So let's go over some of those details. Now, this would actually limit added sugars for the first time. There's also a hope to reduce sodium in kids' meals as well. These limits wouldn't be required until the 2025-2026 school year, so it gives a little time for school districts to adjust, and that's if the rules go through in the first place. They've just been proposed by the Department of Agriculture. So the very obvious pro is that healthier meals for kids, which who doesn't want that? But the not so obvious con here is that it could burden some of those small and rural school districts, and here in North Carolina, we've got a lot of them. So the question that we've been asking all morning is, should sugar be limited in kids' meals? We're having everyone text us at 704-329-3600. Some folks have already chimed in. Some already, yes, make the kids' food healthier. It's a no-brainer. Others, not so much. It's limited but still allowed, especially if kids aren't, getting as much at home. Some others say somewhere in the middle, just everything in moderation. But talking specifically about some of the foods that were mentioned in the article about what they're trying to nix, I mean, it's a lot of these like breakfast sugary foods, your really sugary yogurts, donuts, coffee cakes, breakfast muffins. It's more so up that alley. So, I mean, I don't know. What do y'all think?
I know my daughter will want to eat in the cafeteria just because she knows if she eats in the cafeteria, then she gets to go in line to get ice cream and cookies and stuff like that. And I think that's what she's most concerned with.
What grade is she in?
She's in first grade.
First grade. So they get to pick what they want in the first grade?
Well, they have what they have each day for school, but then, yes, they can go and get an extra ice cream or something like that. During the pandemic, we know a lot of kids did not have to pay for school lunches. They were paid for, which helped so many families. But, yes, if you did want the ice cream or chips, you did have to pay for that. But now families are having to pay for these meals again, and like a lot of people chiming in, this is the only meal some kids will have.
But you could make the argument either way, that being the case, that it really should be healthy.
Extra healthy, yeah.
Or
I think most schools do try to have healthy meals. You have visiting schools all the time, and you go to the cafeteria. They try to have healthy meals, but then there's that section over there. And really, you talk about fruits. There are fruits that are not that good for you. And unfortunately, bananas and grapes and watermelon are packed with sugar. Diabetics don't. They try to avoid those. So if you think what a diabetic would eat, that's the better sugar to have, the kind of fruit with, the better sugar. The apples, oranges, things like that.
Yeah, my mom's a diabetic, so she's always, like when the kids go and eat fruit, my mom's like, they need some protein, they need some cheese, because
Balance it out.
Yes, because everything in moderation, I guess, right?
Melissa's chiming in and saying school lunch is gross and expensive for what they get. I pack lunches every day. Joy says yes, but it should not be completely. I think she's referring to limit sugar, but not completely.
Right.
I think there is a major, probably the biggest health issue in our country is obesity.
Right.
And I think to continue down the road we've continued is not especially helpful. And I'm a guy who comes from a family that suffers with obesity like every other family. As a kid, I was an overweight kid, always wore husky. I mean, so it's not an easy solution, but I think we have some horribly unhealthy habits in this country.
Oh, yeah.
And it's leading to very unhealthy people and very unhealthy
sugar,
adults.
Too much salt.
Yes.
Way too much salt.
And
that's what I'd like to see focus on.
And I get so many people here that the USDA is doing this, and they're like, the government doesn't need to tell me what kids should be eating. I get that, but I also don't think you want the food manufacturers telling you what your kid's eating, because they're making a profit. They're in this for money. And so if they just get to do what sells, then I'm not sure that's really what's in the best interest of future generations.
If you look at the ingredients sometimes, you look at the back of the box,
it's terrible.
package, and you see the sodium says 1,000 milligrams of sodium or whatever, and packed with sugar. I think that's the first thing. See what the ingredients are, and then judge it by that.
Yeah. And the serving sizes. I mean, your bag of chips, it's like 3,000 calories, and it's 3 chips is the serving size. I mean, let's start there,
Hank is chiming in saying it'd be good to limit how much sugar kids can have, but I believe it's more important to make sure they're eating something and not going hungry, which some parents chiming in as well kind of said that this morning too.
Yeah. Something we didn't talk about is, they're still trying to figure out what the funding would even look like for this, because that's an obvious burden on parents, because unfortunately you can go to Costco and probably save a lot of money getting a huge box of fruit snacks, a huge box of chips, but then you try to do
those foods that don't go bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally, and are more affordable.
Totally,
because they don't go bad. But we know as long as there's an unhealthy option out there, human nature is to go for that.
And the way they advertise to the kids too, it's like with the cartoons on the front, and then the kid picks that, and you're like, it's all like food dye and marshmallows, and I'm like,
those people don't care about your kids.
That's the fast food
They don't
diet.
care about your kids.
Like, can we pick out another cereal or some oatmeal maybe?
And the thing is, the idea is that maybe if you change habits early on, that because once you're, grown-ups, changing habits is a lot harder.
It's hard. I see that with my grandmother, who sugar tooth to the max, and then she developed type 2 diabetes, and it was like no switching her. It was so hard. I talk to you about it all the time, like find dessert in her fridge. It's like, I don't know if you're watching Grandma, but it's hard to make that switch, like you said, Ben.
That's right. Other people chiming in. Just want to make sure we get to these comments. Schools have options where you can buy chips, ice cream, cookies.
Yep.
Those snacks should only be allowed to buy on Fridays.
That is what I'm saying. This is what my daughter does, Jolene. She goes every day, and I'm looking at the bill like ice cream, cookies.
Because if it's there, they're going to get it. They're going to get it. Like that's not the kids aren't going to make the smart decision. Let's talk about the amount of kids hungry at school, not getting regular meals. 100% as well.
Yeah.
All right, folks, continue to weigh in. Let us know changes you think need to be happening to school lunches, or maybe not at all. Either way. And we'll see you back here for a Friday edition of Wake Up Charlotte to go tomorrow morning.
Friday.
That's right.